On our second edition of Hidden EDC, we are learning the best solution for escaping zip ties, duct tape and rope, and how to break car windows in a snap. On the first edition of Hidden EDC, the most commonly asked question was, how do I escape zip ties if I'm tied up? Zip ties, duct tape, and rope are definitely several other popular options typically used as restraints. We can escape all of them. With a simple solution we can hide on our person every day. With a few items purchased off Amazon, we can quickly put together a friction saw that's going to burn through all the restraints we just mentioned. And it's going to be as easy as riding a bicycle. Now, what kind of zip ties are we talking about? Zip ties, or also known as cable ties, that come in many different sizes. Typically the largest zip ties will be 24 inches long or longer and will be made of durable plastic that can have a tensile strength up to 200 pounds. Law enforcement zip tie restraints will typically have a tensile strength of 250 pounds and be made of two heavy-duty zip ties that are joined together, making them much stronger. Now, if you're tied up by a zip tie, can you break free with force alone? In some instances, you can break free from a zip tie with both force and momentum by itself. If your wrists are tied by a single 200-pound test zip tie from the front, a possible method you may be able to use to break free is by tightening the zip ties down on your wrists by pulling on the end piece with your mouth. Any slack that was between your wrists is going to be removed. This is to ensure that the zip tie is under the most stress possible, but also very tight on your wrists. You will then try to split the tie apart by thrusting both of your elbows in a downward fashion against the sides of your rib cage. You want to do this in a strong motion that applies force to both sides of the zip tie simultaneously, forcing the tie to snap. And with enough force, they should snap apart. Now, this method can only be used if you're zip tied by a single zip tie in the front position, and you cannot use this method, of course, if you're cuffed by law enforcement style zip tie cuffs. Now, I don't like this method for several reasons, including the fact that you have to tighten the zip ties down as much as possible in order to create more stress on the zip ties. So if you're unable to break free from the zip ties, you're just going to end up with super tight zip ties on your wrist. Second is, if you are successful to break free by this force and momentum technique, you're probably only going to be able to get it done in your first few attempts when your strength is at maximum capacity. Because as you keep doing this and thrusting your elbows down into your rib cage, fatigue is going to set in. So you're going to get less and less forceful as you keep trying. What is the best solution for breaking out of zip ties, both in the front position and also the back position? We are actually going to use a friction saw made of Technora cord. We're going to start by accessing a small bundle of cord that we hid in one of our socks or shoes. Unbinding the small length of cord, we can start by passing the cord through our restraint by the end piece, which is marked by a bobby pin. We will then grab that bobby pin with our mouth for assistance until we can grab the first foothold that is already tied off into the cord. Next, we will take the first foothold loop and loop it around one of our feet. We will then find the other end of the cord, which has our second foothold tied in, and put our second foot through that foothold as well. We will want to be able to get tension on the 3 points of contact, our restraint, and both our footholds. Once in the correct position, we will then begin to slowly move into a bicycle motion of pedaling your feet, which will start to cause significant friction on the restraint. And with enough pedaling, you will be able to burn through any zip tie, duct tape, or rope restraint. Now, can you use this same method if zip tied from the back? Like doing anything behind your back, this is going to take more time and energy. So make sure you go slow, go step by step, and if you start to get frustrated or overwhelmed, just calm yourself down and focus on the next move. Same as in the front, after you have located your hidden friction saw in your sock or shoe, you will then work on passing it through the restraint. After the cord is through your restraint, you will then work on putting the first foot loop on your first foot. Again, this will be a slower process than when in front. After your first foot loop is secure, you will then locate the other end of the cord, which has your second foothold, and you will begin working on getting your second foot secure. When both foot loops are attached and you have tension on the restraint in both your feet, you will then want to lie down on your side or stomach so you can still do the pedaling motion by back kicking your legs. Again, make sure you don't get overwhelmed. Just go slow and focus on your next move. But after some pedaling motion, just like the front position, you will still be able to burn through your restraint with friction heat and escape. Now, where can we hide this small friction saw? The best place is going to be a place that you can access, obviously, from both the front and back restraint position. So you're going to probably want to hide this in a sock or possibly hide this in a shoe. Maybe you can put it in an area by the tongue of your sneaker or something like that. All right, so how can we make this friction saw at home? Let's go through the step-by-step process and how we can put this together pretty easily. You're going to need either Technora cord or Kevlar cord. I'll put the Amazon links in the description for both of these. For this application, you're going to want to select a strength between 200 to 400 pound test weight. Here we have selected 300 pound test weight, which is 1.3 millimeters thick. Below 200 pound test weight may be too weak depending on the abuse level, and over 500 pound test weight is just not necessary because of the excessive bulk. Technora cord actually has a higher heat resistance than a Kevlar cord, and they are both in the same material family. Kevlar's melting point is about 800 degrees, while Technora cord is about 932 degrees. This is important because we are going to creating a lot of heat on the cord while cutting the restraints. Technora is also coated in polyurethane as a UV protectant, which also aids in friction resistance. So we are going to cut a 100-inch length, plus or minus, depending on your height and what you may like. And then we are going to create 2 footholds. In this example, we are going to use about a 16 to 17-inch foothold that you can tie off, but you can slightly adjust that according to your foot size. I'm going to tie these off with a secure knot, and make sure you test your knots and make sure that they hold tight, as you will not want them to come undone. If you want, you can add a useful item to one of the end pieces of the cord. Something like a 2 or 3-inch bobby pin. You can use the bobby pin as a marker so you know where the end is of the cord when it's all bundled up. And also behind your back, you're going to be able to use the bobby pin to help feed the cord through the restraint. You don't have to add anything to the end of the string like this, but it may be useful to do so as something like a bobby pin. It can then be used for picking locks later if needed. So ideally use the friction saw method to cut through zip ties, duct tape, and rope restraints, and don't use the force and momentum method that we discussed initially. Just make sure you can hide a small piece of the cord on your person. Now let's discuss another hidden EDC that you can keep on your wrist. This is an elastic band that has 2 tungsten carbide beads on it. Tungsten carbide has a hardness level of 9 on the hardness scale, just below diamonds, and because of this you can use these beads to break the safety glass on vehicle windows, like you would a window punch tool. You would simply slingshot the beads like this into a corner of a side vehicle window. This would be in case you're ever in a kidnap situation and trapped inside the back of a vehicle, or because you just drove into a body of water with your car and you need to escape through the window. So this is bungee shock cord material, and you can just add 1 or 2 of the tungsten carbide beads to the shock cord, and you can purchase the shock cord and beads separately off Amazon, or you can actually just buy the bracelet already assembled with the beads on it. What I've also done though is add a Delta handcuff key onto the bracelet in addition to the tungsten carbide beads. This is a black coated stainless steel handcuff key that features a full split on the key tooth and has been hollowed out in the middle so it can be attached to a bracelet or shoelace. It can open traditional handcuffs like those made by Smith & Wesson and Peerless, as well as high security handcuffs like those made by Asp because of the full split in the tooth key. And of course, you can hide this bracelet in a normal or hidden pocket. You don't have to wear it as a bracelet, but it is a pretty nondescript bracelet. And the Delta handcuff key blends in pretty well too. But the friction saw and the bracelet do offer unique, significant advantages for such small force multipliers that you can hide on your person. And I wanted to throw in one extra glass breaker bonus for watching the video till the end. And that is breaking safety glass again with spark plug porcelain. Now you can break car safety glass with just a small piece of spark plug porcelain in case you ever need to, say, scavenge supplies after the apocalypse from an abandoned vehicle that has locked doors. Just break off the porcelain from the spark plug with a hammer, make sure to wear safety glasses, and save the pieces of the porcelain. If you throw this porcelain at a side car window, it will go right through. I believe this was originally discovered by the biker gangs and then later picked up by the spy agencies. And please subscribe to the channel if you found value in the video. And if you haven't seen our first hidden EDC video that shows you how you can hide hidden force multipliers on your person every day without sacrificing any comfort, you can check that video out right here.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gonna feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes.